Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm honestly so thrilled to be guiding you through this material today because we're looking at what is essentially the ultimate blueprint for personal transformation. Did you know the average person spends over 5 years of their life just worrying? That's wild. But today, we're going to explore two incredibly powerful stories that, when you combine them, actually unlock the exact mechanics of how to change that, how to change your life. We're talking about the art of thinking big and the absolute, non-negotiable necessity of valuing your time. It's a pretty amazing journey we're going on, so get comfortable and let's just dive right in.
So consider this. What if your life isn't small, but your thinking is? Just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty provocative thought, right? We so often blame our circumstances, our environment, maybe a lack of resources for where we end up. But the material we're unpacking today totally challenges that foundational belief. It suggests that the boundaries of our reality are literally just drawn by the boundaries of our imagination.
Section 1. The Trap of Thinking Small. Let's explore this by looking at a young man named Ravi.
Now, Ravi wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He was just an ordinary guy spending his days working in this really cramped little printing shop. Every single morning, he'd open up early, sweep the floor, and just print bills and forms all day. His hands always smelled of ink, and his shirt was constantly dusty. But hidden right beneath that mundane daily reality of just barely surviving were these incredibly vibrant dreams. See, when Ravi was younger, he loved design. He was all about art, beautiful colors, actually creating things. But you know how it goes. Life gets hard, responsibilities pile up, and he just buried those dreams. He told himself exactly what so many of us are told. Hey, be realistic, play it safe, don't dream too big.
And why exactly did he play it safe? Well, it was the voices of fear. Basically, every single time a new creative idea popped into his head, fear was right there to just squash it. You know the thoughts. What if I fail? What if people laugh at my art? Or what if I lose the tiny bit of security I actually have right now? That fear kept his thinking so incredibly small. And the tragic part, even though he earned enough to get by, every single night when he locked up that shop, he just felt completely empty inside.
Moving on to Section 2, a window to bigger dreams.
So, one quiet evening, Ravi decided to stay late, and he secretly designed this absolutely beautiful poster, just for himself. He actually almost threw it away because he was so scared. But the very next morning, this really observant older gentleman, Mr. Iyer, comes into the shop. He spots the poster sitting on Ravi's desk and offers up this profound visual metaphor. He points to the shop's tiny, narrow window and says, "You live in a small room, Ravi, but your window is big. Why are you always looking down?" It's such a brilliant observation. What Mr. Iyer is pointing out here is that people generally don't fail just because life is inherently too hard. They fail because their thinking is too small. They literally refuse to look up and out the window.
And then he asks Ravi this life-altering question. If absolutely nothing was stopping you, no fear, no limits, what would you do? I want you to actually ask yourself that same question right now. For Ravi, this question changed the game. It completely unlocked his mental cage. That night, looking out his window at the stars, he finally let himself think big. He admitted he wanted to design, he wanted to create, and for the very first time in years, his heart just felt lighter.
But here's the catch. Realizing you need to think big, that's really only the first step. Execution is everything. Inspiration without action is basically just a daydream, right? Ravi had this big dream now, but to actually make it a reality, he needed a tool. He needed to understand the mechanics of execution.
Which brings us to Section 3. The True Currency of Success.
To make his dream real, Ravi had to avoid a trap that caught another young man from our source material, a guy named Adam. Now, Adam was a lot like Ravi. He had these grand dreams. He wanted wealth, respect. He wanted to make his family proud. But Adam had a major problem: chronic procrastination. He completely forgot about the ultimate equalizer, which is the number 24. 24 hours. The sources really hammer home this point. Success isn't built with money first. It is built with time. Every single rich person, successful leader, and totally ordinary person gets the exact same 24 hours in a day. The playing field is literally 100% level when it comes to time allocation. The only difference is how you choose to use it.
Adam's whole downfall was this trap of waiting. When someone told him to learn a new skill, Adam would just brush it off and say, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow." But of course, tomorrow turned into next week. Next week morphed into next month. He was just constantly waiting for that perfect magical moment to begin. And before he even knew what happened, years had completely slipped by, and his big dreams were totally untouched.
This leads to a pretty stark warning Adam got from a wise old man in his village named Hassan. Hassan found Adam just sort of wasting his day lounging by the river. So Hassan picks up a handful of sand, lets it slip through his fingers and tells him, time is exactly like this sand. Once it leaves your hand, you can never get it back. It's a very visceral, unavoidable truth, isn't it?
Section 4. The 3 apples of time.
This is honestly one of my absolute favorite metaphors from all the material we're looking at today. Hassan showed Adam 3 different apples. The fresh apple, that represents your future, and your main job is to protect it. Then there's the slightly damaged apple, which represents today. The key takeaway there is you have to use it right now before it rots. And that completely rotten apple, that's yesterday, and it is gone forever. It doesn't matter how much you regret it, you literally cannot bring yesterday back. The only thing you can do is use your slightly damaged today to protect your fresh future.
Man, this apple metaphor really hit Adam hard. He went home and finally calculated the true cost of all his waiting. All those hours spent waiting for motivation to strike, sleeping when he didn't need to, avoiding his responsibilities, and just talking without any real purpose. He was totally shocked. He realized he was essentially throwing away life's absolute most valuable asset, not his money, but his time.
Section 5. The 1-hour transformation. Taking action.
This is where we bring it all together, because applying Adam's harsh realization about time is exactly how our first character, Robbie, actually turned his big thinking into reality. Robbie didn't just sit around dreaming, he took control of his 24 hours. And he didn't do anything crazy like recklessly quit his job either. Step 1, he simply stayed 1 extra hour after work every single day. Step 2, he used that specific time to relentlessly practice and design his posters. Step 3, he finally got brave and shared his work online. And Step 4, that one consistent daily habit eventually led to him gaining local clients. He achieved his big dreams simply through small, consistent 1-hour daily actions.
So what was the real secret to Robbie's success? It's understanding that the perfect moment does not exist. You literally create the perfect moment by starting right now. Robbie stopped waiting for his fear to completely vanish. Adam stopped waiting for tomorrow. They both just stopped making excuses and started utilizing that damaged apple of today to actively build their futures.
Sometime later, Mr. Iyer actually visited Ravi's shop again, and the vibe was completely different. Ravi was confident, his work had real meaning, the whole shop just felt alive. Mr. Iyer smiled and noticed that the window looked cleaner, but Ravi gave this amazing, triumphant reply. He said, "No, I didn't clean the window. I cleaned my thinking." You see, his life didn't change magically overnight, but because his thinking changed, and because he put in that 1 hour of time every single day, everything else inevitably followed.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question to close out our explainer today. I want you to ask yourself honestly, am I thinking small because of fear, or am I brave enough to think bigger? Remember, your thoughts are what build your future, but time is the currency you have to spend to buy it. Don't let your sand slip away. Start today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I challenge you to take that very first step the second this explainer is